Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Warm welcome back to our frequent flyers, regulars on the channel, and those of you who might be tuning in for the very first time, hello to you guys as well. Welcome on board. We're at Lisbon today, and I think that might be John next to us on the left. And we're at stand 143, sadly a Sobo default airport, but the ground textures aren't too bad. Everything else is just fairly generic. And today we're going to be heading on the VATSIM network over to the Azores, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, which is going to be quite cool. One of the members for the channel requested this specific route, so we're giving it a go today. Tina Star, thank you, welcome. So the controllers, we've got a ground controller logging on very soon, and it's a training session, nice. And having stuff explained in the background. No problem at all. Jamie, I have, although I think I remember you saying if it icing at the minute, if it builds up I'll have to switch it back on again, but we'll give it a go during the flight if not. And today as well we're in the experimental custom fly-by-wire version of the A32NX mod as well, which also has the printer that functions and also the
Lisbon traffic, Alpine 67 Alpha Delta, pushing back nose to the left on stand.
And we've got all our stuff ready to go. STD there should be 1310, but I forgot to update on sim brief. And we've got our route all input ready to go as well, so let's print. Have I not already done that? Yes, I have. We've got our latest meta, excuse the wobbly zoom. 260 degrees at 9 knots for wind on departure here at Lisbon. Scattered cloud 2200, broken at 2800, 12 degrees Celsius, and QNH 1014. On the init A page then, Vuta, hello, welcome. Peter, hello to you too. Jamie, no, thank you very much for letting me know, and Jason, hello to you as well. Cruiser flight level 360 today, and our call sign is Azores 121 or RZO 121. I've gone ahead and already done our performance calculations, although the trimmable horizontal stabilizer setting doesn't do too much at the moment. But we've got DN 0.3, so down 0.3, and I've gone ahead and set that there. And our flex temp of 65 degrees as well, and that's counting for an intersection departure. If it's full runway length, then the flex calculation was 73. And there's our V-speeds ready to go as well. John, hello, welcome. Fuel on board, 6,960 kilograms, and our gross weight with payload, etc., 66,000 or 66 tons. And there's our init fuel prediction and our actual fuel prediction there as well. I've been tinkering with a few other bits as well. So on the init page, there's a wind temp field. You can actually go into sim brief, scroll right down. It gives you loads of wind forecasts through climb, descent, etc. And I've gone ahead and put those all in as well, so there's all our different climb winds depending on what flight level we're going up to. There's our cruise winds and our descent winds as well, down to 10,000 feet, and our alternate winds as well if we have to divert. Diversion today is LPLA, which is also in the Azores. Busan 1 Sierra departure is what we're planning for today. And we should have now Radar Robbo, hello, welcome. John, channel member, welcome to you. Danny Rubel, nice to see you tuning back in again, welcome. Let's see, we've got ATIS, so information Delta. Expect ILS approach, runway in use 03. In that case, we need a new SID. So, quick little plan on sim brief, let's have a quick look-see. Just to see what to expect, because Busan 2 November. The departure is going to change slightly, we'll have to reroute basically. Or have the controller reroute us, I should say. So I'll leave it as Busan 2 Sierra, but I can expect a Busan 2 November. on runway 03 instead. Tina Star, nice. It's going well. I've had my third ATC session actually, so I think it's going okay. Alright, 121750. I've got one more session there, and then I think I'm potentially going to be exam ready for VATSIM UK to be a ground controller, which will be quite exciting. Let's have a little look. What else is on here?
4.6.5 Delta pushback, stand 203, ready for taxi.
And that's QNH 1013. So let's change that. Update those.
Alpine 67 Alpha Delta, please squawk not Charlie.
Alpine 6.5 Delta.
Then boy, hello to you, Peter. 03 is now in use apparently. I think.
Lisbon Grand, this is Air Portugal 272 Papa, stand 141, requesting clearance to LPPD, and we are an A320N with a QNH of...
so it was 2-1, but the winds have obviously shifted.
1-4.
Air Portugal 277 Papa, information current is Delta, connection 014, break clear to Ponta Delgada via Lisbon to Serra,
Sure where
2175.
yeah, Portugal is. That's
Squawk clear to destination, squawking 2175, and confirm the Azores and 2 Sierra departure.
Air Portugal 272 Papa, affirm departure, Lisbon to Serra departure.
good to see you. Hello.
Alpine 6.5 Delta, squawking 1161 and ready for taxi.
Alpine 67 Alpha Delta, taxi via Mike, Tango, uniform to uniform 5 holding point runway 12.
Not sure what landing actually. I think
Mike,
it's going to be
uniform, holding point uniform
at least with the wind
521,
forecast.
Alpine 6.5 Delta.
We're looking at westerly runway.
Alpine 67 Alpha Delta, revise taxi via Mike, Tango, uniform to the uniform 500. Correction, holding point runway 12.
Mike, Tango, uniform, holding point uniform 5, runway 21, Alpine 6.5 Delta.
Lisbon traffic, correction, Lisbon ground, hello, Azores 121, Airbus A320 at stand 143, with information Delta, request IFR clearance to Ponta Delgada.
Azores 121, Lisbon ground to boa tarde. Information Delta is current, QNH 1014, break clear to Ponta Delgada via Lisbon to Sierra departure, 5413.
Clear to Ponta Delgada, was it the Busan 2 Sierra departure, squawk 5113, Azores 121.
Azores 121, reverse correct, calling when ready for push.
Alpine 6.5 Delta, question.
It's going to be about the ATIS, because the ATIS is showing 03.
Alpine 67 Alpha Delta, go ahead.
Yeah, Alpine 6.5 Delta, confirm, where is Tango exactly?
The runway 35 is no longer in use.
So, that's all good. Let's get rid of the air bridge.
Runway 35, now is Tango.
Oh, roger, didn't see that much shots. Roger via Tango. Alpine 6.5 Delta.
Where it goes.
Portugal 272 Papa is fully ready, pushing start.
Station calling, standby.
I'm conscious.
Azores 121 confirm, squawk 5413.
Squawk 5413, Azores 121. He's very quiet.
Feedback correct. Break. Station calling, say again.
Air Portugal
My bad.
272 Papa is fully ready, pushing
Thought I
start.
heard him say 5113, that's what I wrote down.
Air Portugal 272 Papa, pushing start processing, correction north.
Pushing start approved, face north, Portugal 272 Papa.
Azores 121, fully ready, request push and start.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the path and brakes, please.
Confirm you are able to maintain separation with Air Portugal Airbus A320 on your right.
A firm. although he's showing as a Lufthansa.
Airbus 121, pushing start approach as usual.
Push start approved, face north, Azores 121. It's weird, so that should be I don't know why it's showing Lufthansa, it should be TAP. So gosh, yes, you need to arm the max auto brake. Because
Parking brakes released.
during your takeoff roll, if
Pushing
you drop the
back.
throttle for whatever reason out of climb or flex or anything, then it instantly brakes because it thinks you're good. You're doing a rejected takeoff basically. Cool. I've given him enough space. K-Berg, performance is good. We're in the experimental version today to give that a go for once. No test branches. Let's get the engines going.
You are cleared behind and you start your engines at your discretion.
So the runway here that you guys can see is 3517. It's actually not in use. It's taxiway Tango now. So gosh, yeah, as well, the auto brakes need to be set to. Basically, if you do a rejected takeoff, you want as much drag as you can, so speed brakes would instantly deploy, and auto brake max would trigger instant braking. It's a great livery, this. And of course, we're going to Ponta Delgada, which is written on the nose.
Portugal 272 Papa is fully ready for taxi.
Portugal 272 Papa, standby.
Flight Simmer 7700, good morning. Thomas, good question. If you check my channel out, I've created a custom, a tutorial based on how to create a custom sail cow plate.
Portugal 272 Papa, taxi via left, Golf, Tango, uniform, Golf, uniform 538.
So check that tutorial out, it's a very short one, it shows you how to do that basically. You can put your stamp on the aeroplane.
Portugal 272 Papa, taxi via Golf, Tango, uniform 5.21.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Tango.
Roger Moore, hello.
Parking brakes set.
Buckle
Roger.
to the pressure.
Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the right with the pin.
Okay, 1
Thanks,
2
and you
stable.
can disconnect
Metro,
and go to hand
north.
signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
Let's put the wing lights on, taxi lights on.
Alpine 67
That's
Alpha Delta 8, no further ATC available. Please contact Unicom 122.8. Bye bye.
Water Unicom 122 down some late, Alpine 67 Alpha Delta. Obrigado, bye.
Bye bye.
Azores 121, request taxi.
Azores 121 taxi via Alpha, uniform to uniform 581.
Taxi Alpha, uniform Tango, runway 24, Azores 121.
Azores 121 taxi via Alpha, uniform to the route uniform 5.121.
Right. Apologies, taxi Alpha, uniform, hold uniform 5, runway 21, Azores 121. I can't hear him. And I've got my volume right up. Okay, ground support is armed. That's auto brake max. Thomas Dahl, so that's a app called FS2 Cruise Pushback Express. There's another version that's out and available at the moment that's called Pushback Helper. I think it's on flightsim.to, and that's quite easy to use. It pretty much offers the same thing, and it's free of charge. which is always good. 1 to 2 decimal 8s on standby, good. So, John's got... Might be... Oh, I've lost track actually. Is it John or Ian? I can't remember who's flying with us today. I feel like it's John. So he's got taxi clearance first, and as a result of that, he has got what they call the red carpet rule, at least in the UK. So he gets priority for taxiing over myself. Flaps and slats have stopped moving, so takeoff config test, and that's showing normal, and do cabin secure. We can put them onto off, so they drop out the belly. Oh, that was odd. A little wiggle there of the rudder.
Air Portugal 272 Papa. Monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8. Very nice.
Monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8. Portugal 272 Papa. Goodbye.
Wow, that is not my input.
Air Azores 121 contact correction. Monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8.
Monitor Unicom 122 decimal 8, Azores 121, thank you, bye.
Goodbye.
Right, I need to try and fix these sensitivity issues a little bit, because I'm getting all sorts of ghost inputs on my rudder pedals. I'm not touching anything now, I'll just see how it goes. Now it's going straight. Bizarre. John, hello. Good afternoon. I'm very well, thank you. Hope you're well as well. So we didn't have to change our stars or anything in the end. Russ, good afternoon to you too. Niall, good question. So there's you could do a little bit of maths.
Traffic, Air Portugal 272
Or
Papa is holding point uniform 5 and
you can use a website called descent.now.sh,
lining up to takeoff.
and it's free. It basically just gives you a rough idea of how to do it all. Andreas, hello. TCAS only works in the sim currently, from what I understand, on live traffic, live AI traffic, so real world traffic that's fed in. It's not currently working on VATSIM or anything else, IVO or AO or anything like that, fortunately. Hopefully soon it will be. I feel like I want to... Let's just disconnect briefly and connect back, because it's bugging me that it's showing a Lufthansa aircraft when it should be TAP. That's pretty rubbish. York, hello. No problem at all. I'm glad you enjoy it all. Lisbon traffic, Azores 121 holding at Alpha 5, ready for departure in sequence. So my model rules are telling the sim to turn that into a TAP aircraft, but instead it is showing Lufthansa, bizarrely, so we'll go with it. I'm not even close on the alphabet. Anybody coming? Lisbon traffic, Azores 121 lining up runway 21. Camamos, no blue. There we go. Captain Jumbo, or Cap Jumbo, unfortunately not. Good. Right, Uniform 5 is what we planned for our intersection departure. Just going to hold it on the brakes a second and time a minute for him. No, that's a good question. So, in the performance page, if you go across to descent, it will say managed 195. That doesn't seem correct. We'll have a look at it later. But basically, that speed there, when you're nearer to descent, that's what you want to put into your little top of descent calculator. Make sure I haven't knocked that. That's still 0.3.
Air Portugal 272 Papa passing flight level 30 on the Lisbon to Sierra departure.
Cool. Lisbon traffic, Azores 121, departing runway 21, Busan 20 departure. Such little movement in it between Flex and Toga for me. Here we go. 80 knots. So I feel like the aeroplane's already lifting off, which is a little bizarre. V1, rotate. A little bit of crosswind. See positive breaker up. AP1 on. And up we go. Should be passing new climb. There we go, lovely. Let's just blast this up straight to 36. Lisbon traffic, Azores 121, airborne 3000. Gadget, hello, welcome. John, it is, isn't it? I did like the working title CJ4 a lot. But I did find it somewhat too small. Let's get rid of the chrono now. There's John up there. Great views. Russ, yeah, here comes the ice. Just going to Heathrow later, then Detroit. Nice, enjoy that. Yorgate, or Yorg, yes, I've got some additional liveries for model matching. They're all from FlightSim.to, but still it's just a bizarre way that the sim doesn't quite listen to what VPilot tells it to do. So it's telling me on .aircraft, on the chat on VPilot, that actually it's giving me TAP A320, showing John as a TAP A320, but bizarrely it's producing a Lufthansa, which is bizarre. Let's go into the good view, shall we? Because we're banking left, so let's have a little look down there. UC, hello, welcome. Marco in the Azores, 15 minutes from Ponta Delgada, very nice. I was looking at the map the other week, and maybe you can answer. Is it quite exposed as a place to live, and the Azores? It's smack bang in the middle of the Atlantic. Russ, APU stuck on. Do you mean it stays on bleed after you've switched it off for about a minute or two, or is it completely off? And Officer R, your dev version with the test lights, you're saying that they don't turn off. That is almost definitely a mod clash with your controls. So if you've got your controls on, or anything like that, then you need to get rid of your controls. You need to remove it out of your community folder, delete it all, and that usually fixes it, he says. $7,600. There's John. Silly me, forgot to disarm the spoilers. Let's put that on proper now as well. John, I'm an EasyJet A320, brilliant. It's good to know it works. It's frustrating when the sim and VPilot don't really talk very well to one another at the moment, so it's quite frustrating for trying to get model matching working. There's no actual solution for it seems, because VPilot is telling it to produce, in John's instance, a TAP A320, but it's just gone ahead and chose one at random anyway, so we can only try. John, flight time around about 2 hours 20 roughly. As we get a little further towards top of climb, you guys should get a ETA on the top of your screen on the overlay. And yes, the MCD flight plan page, there is a current bug at the minute actually. As Gadget's saying, it's already reported on GitHub. John, thank you very much. Blasted over 2,500 and I was quite surprised actually, so thank you to everybody for clicking that subscribe button. Glad you enjoy it all. And Keith, yeah, I won't do. If I get that far. That's a long way. That's a long way off yet, I'd like to think. APU sound stays locked on after the APU, after parking stands too. Okay. So Ross, what I would probably suggest in that instance is have a little look at, I need to turn these off actually. Let's go ahead, standard, landing lights. That's good. What I would suggest is going into your APU page and checking to see if it's producing a bleed or if any of these are showing values. For me, I've just turned it all off and it's worked perfectly fine. I know you do have to leave it a couple of minutes, so once you've turned the APU off, you turn bleed off at master. If the bleed's been used, you need about 1 to 2 minutes before it will close off and shut down properly. Virtual, this is the custom autopilot. This is the experimental fly-by-wire version, so usually I'm on the test branch, as a lot of you guys know. But on this occasion, I'm actually using the experimental custom fly-by-wire version with the custom autopilot and things like that on there, which is quite good. Naturally, that's kept up to date with the dev version, which is always updated first. So we've still got the printer, we've still got the awesome EFB. We can zoom in on our location a little there, and all this is going to be updated and improved over time as well. Gosh, over 10,000, you should have it blinking at you there to go to standard pressure, or whatever you've chosen in your MCDU as your transition altitude for departure. And then for arrival, when you're changing back, it all depends on where you're flying into. So in America, the transition altitude there tends to be 18,000 feet. But in the UK, arrival transitions tend to be around 6, 7, 8,000. But it all depends on the ATIS information and the data that you get from the controllers. If they tell you to descend with a flight level, then that would mean you're on standard pressure still. But if you get, say, descend 6,000 instead of flight level 70, if it's descend 7,000, then it would be in local pressure. Yes, this is the experimental version from the installer. So this is the one that all you guys can download as well. Lucky, I'm not sure. I've not done anything different. One thing I will say is I would probably suggest making sure that your call sign there, which is from SimBrief, and I've linked my SimBrief integration using the company tab. Make sure your SimBrief call sign that feeds into this is the same as the call sign in your init A page, because then I think it talks to each other a little bit better. Reese, welcome to the channel. Gold frequent flyer. Oh, here comes the ice. I'm going to have to go back into those settings, I think, and try and turn it off. John, I would love to, but the 787 is absolutely woeful in the sim. Gold frequent flyer, nice, welcome. Thanks for subscribing to the channel and becoming a member. Company message. Who's that going to be? Reese, I appreciate you supporting the stream. Thank you very much. Glad you enjoy it all. ATSU, AOC, received messages from SK211. Have a good trip. Thank you to whoever you are. I'm sure you're watching in the chat somewhere in the background. I can print your message. I'll stick it in the middle for a bit. So Gadget, good question. Sorry, I did see you ask that a minute ago. There we go. There's your message. So effectively, the new autopilot and the new flight controls have been tweaked and modified so that the aircraft performs as accurately to real life as it possibly can. So they've gone in and tweaked the flight model, the way the autopilot works, the logic of it all, basically. The Asobo autopilot logic, I'm trying to think of the right words here, effectively is shared between the A320, the 747 and the 787. So it seems to be that they've all worked into creating the autopilot for the 747 and then tweaked it for the other airliners. I think. I'm not an expert on it all at all. So what this custom autopilot does is go in and actually create a custom autopilot logic specific to the way the A320 should fly. So there's a lot of progress going in onto making it all as accurate as possible, with a load of real-world A320 pilots as well helping the project, which is quite cool. And in turn, what it will allow is for them to implement a proper working VNAV. So we'll get top of descent, we'll get proper managed modes as well, so it will manage the climb and descent properly. So it'll be great. It'll be basically better in the long term. It'll be better for everybody. For us, enjoy the last few days of the sim working. Yeah, that's the worry, isn't it? Thankfully, on sim update day, I'll be working for a couple of days. So there'll be a few days where I'll be off the sim, and thankfully free of any problems. And hopefully by the time I boot up again, it'll all be fixed. Any issues that do arise, so gosh, no problem at all. Any other questions, then just fire away. That's part of the reason why we do these streams. Marco in the Azores, 9 islands, temperature does not drop below 8 degrees Celsius in the winter, and the max summer 28 with 300,000 inhabitants. Wow. I guess the only way you can get there is using Azores Airlines or Ryanair by the looks of it. Or at least from Lisbon. They were the only two routes I could find. Tom, so the custom autopilot is in the A32NX, but what you want to do in the installer, you want to click experimental. You want to install the experimental version. So there's 3 versions of the A32NX. There's the stable, which is, in my opinion, badly named because it gets updated, it's stable for a little while, it's very good, but you then have the development version. And whenever I test a PR branch, like I did yesterday on our stream to Samos, if it's approved, it then gets merged into the development branch, and then very quickly the stable version gets left behind. So quite quickly the stable mod can actually become quite unstable. So I really recommend the development version. But additionally, the experimental version is a third option, and that is very similar to the development version, but with its own flight characteristics and autopilot logic getting worked on all the time. But they offer no support on it at the moment because it is, as they say, purely experimental. But it works very well, and a lot of people really like this version. Yeah, LG2B, yeah, exactly. K-Berg, exactly. I very rarely fly the experimental version because I'm constantly doing test branches. So it's nice every now and again to try a different version of the mod, really. Reese is doing Gatwick to Gibraltar, and back to Gatwick had low vis and turbulence. Nice. I do like it when it's a bit of a challenge. When we were flying into Gatwick the other week, we had really bad turbulence and low vis. John, yes, so on the free text you type my call sign, which is RZO121, or Romeo Zulu Oscar 121. And Ace, did the autopilot follow my approach? It seems to be working absolutely fine for me. Let's zoom into 10. And there's a little slight drift, but I mean that's basically on the flight plan, so that's not inaccurate or problematic at all really. That's 0.03 of a nautical mile, I guess. And there's our little top of climb marker there. Oddly enough, there's our top of descent marker, but that's not correct. So we tend to ignore that at the moment. How can I explain how you set up the MCDU to level of at a certain flight level at a certain waypoint? So a lot of it's down to constraints, and occasionally the aircraft doesn't respect it, so I can't really show you here, but when we departed there was a constraint at Busan, which we can actually see here. We had to be above 3,000 feet. So if you leave it in manage mode, which is where the little circle is there, it will be looking at the constraint saying, you know what, I need to get above 3,000 by this waypoint, and it will then continue to climb above it. If it was a climb to 3,000 and you had to fly past the waypoint at 3,000, then it should respect it, it should level off, but you'd need to keep it in the manage mode, which is with the circle there. It doesn't always respect it, so it can be a little hit and miss. We've got a message. You got it working then. Happy days. Let's print it. Jacob, hello, welcome. Another channel member, welcome back on board. Where I am at the moment, pretty much no snow. Walking the dog earlier, and we had like a mini blizzard, but none of it settled. It all disappeared very quickly. There we go. There's your message printed out. Hopefully we get some more snow. We've got a yellow weather warning in place for this evening. It's 1800 Zulu, where I am near Heathrow. So fingers crossed. Lackey was asking how I link the SimBrief and the EFB. So you need to create a flight plan on SimBrief first, and once you've got it all input and ready to go, you then need to get your username for SimBrief. It currently only works with your username as well, and there are issues with the keybinds, so be careful as you're typing stuff in. Take note of all your switches and things on the aircraft, because it might have flicked a few, might have turned icing on and things like that, for example. Then in the aircraft, click the screen to wake it up, go to the company tab, and in username you type your SimBrief username in. Providing you've clicked generate flight plan on SimBrief, it goes onto their server. You can type that in, hit enter, go back to the dashboard, and you just click from SimBrief there, and it will pull it all in. Very easy. Very little functionality at the moment, so don't worry about the EFB too much. All it pretty much does at the minute is give you a moving map and a bit of a SimBrief functionality. Lots of updates for that to come. Kberg's in Norway, you've got snow, loads of snow, and minus 15 Celsius. Ooh, no thank you. I don't mind the snow, but you can keep the cold weather. Gadget flew on VATSIM earlier. Heathrow to Munich, very nice. Wow, was that in the A320? That's quite incredible if that was the case. But yeah, when we get proper working VNAV, it will be really good, I think. Sadly, I think there was a lot of pressure for the FlyByWire developers from a lot of people on the Discord asking EFB when all the time, and I think it diverted a little bit of focus into just getting it switched on with some basic functionality. which is great. It is pretty good, but personally I'll be pushing for more of the flight plan manager, that working title of absolutely nailed, and a working VNAV as well, which is really good in the CJ4. We really need it in the A320 really, but that is a lot of work. And I don't understand code, so I do all the testing, but you know, beyond that I have no idea. Ponta Delgada at Marco, so right now it's got rain and fog, wind, wow, 26 kilometers an hour, 16 degrees, pressure 102 HPA, visibility 3 to 4 miles. Whew. Nice. I'll be using the ILS most likely, I think, for this approach, but quite exciting. I was having a little look actually. I can show you guys a Navigraph and sort of show what I'll explain. We can get rid of Lisbon. So there's our route. This is Lisbon Centre, and then Santa Maria Oceanic on that green line here. If they were online around about now, we would have contacted them to give out oceanic clearance request via Comet. We've input the waypoint here of 38 north, 20 west, and you can add that into your MCDU by simply typing 3802N. Bit of a weird way the sim wants it at the moment, but that's how you do it. And there's Ponta Delgada right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So, Navigraph have updated it recently, and if I click on the charts list, there's a great little reference tab. So you've got all your usual radar minimum mounts and your noise abatement procedures. But there's also now some updated overview pages, which are really cool and include pictures. So you can see here they've got a picture facing here with the overview towards the runway and up towards the São Miguel mountain, where the VOR is, terrain I guess actually, and there's the picture of the airport. There's an overview of the weather with a description of the airfield and what to expect, and the runway characteristics may cause it to be slippery when wet. Expect low level turbulence and wind shear when winds are from the north above 15 knots. And there's a circle to land as well, but it's not authorised flying north of the airport, so basically flying south. And some seasonal weather data. Runway 12, you've got a little picture there. So it looks like an awesome little airfield to come and fly at. And it'll be interesting to see how the sim has rendered all this when we get there. It's such a sort of random place. And runway 30, and this one shows it's got a displaced threshold here. Usable landing length of only 2,248 metres, with an upslope which may cause an illusion of being high. So that's interesting. That's a bit of a hazard in itself. Star wise, trying to remember now, I think we're flying in via Beacon. So 6 Alpha, 6 Bravo, or 1N, 1S. And it all depends on the weather, I guess. But roughly, we're going to be flying in like so. Most likely, if we're using 30, we'll be using the ILS Sulu and just coming straight in like so from 3,600 foot. Or if it's 12, we might have to use the RMP. Or I could do a circle to land and give it a go. But there's no circle to land charts, interestingly enough. So I might absolutely screw it up. But we can have a look as we get a little closer. Fly sim, yeah, you don't get all the coding stuff either, no. I just fly the planes. Beyond that, absolutely clueless. I wish I had the time to understand the coding side of it all, so I could sort of help with that side of it as well. J340, good afternoon to you. I hope you're well. I hope you're well too. I'm very good, thank you. And Addy in Australia, welcome to you. Enjoying the sun then, if it's summer in Oz. John, good question. So if Oceanic were online, we would have to do what's called a random routing, because there's no nat track for this. So we'd do a random routing with all the different waypoints on the way, basically. Virtual entered his company name mid-flight when flying on VATSIM, turned off the engine, generator and fuel pumps. Yeah, so that's the key bind problem with the EFB at the moment. For me, my username triggers all of the icing to come on. Thankfully, nothing else, but I've seen quite a few people, if you've got a certain letter in your username, it will trigger fuel pumps or the gen to come off, or switches the engines off and things like that, for example. But what I will suggest is use caps lock and just type it all in with capitals. Ace, we're using the experimental custom fly-by-wire version today, so the basic, well, at least the initial work on the custom autopilot and a few other things. William up north, got loads of snow, but it's not settling for you. Yeah, we had a brief blizzardish sort of thing about 10 minutes earlier today, about 10 o'clock. Blew in and then sort of didn't settle, and we've had nothing else since. Gadget, another fly-by-wire dev version update dropped, second one today. Yep, that's pretty good. So, for those of you who don't really understand how that all works properly, myself, FlightSimmer 7700, K-Berg as well, that was in the chat, all part of the fly-by-wire project. Myself and FlightSimmer are QA testers, and I think K-Berg is as well, actually. I'm trying to remember. I've got a terrible memory. But basically, every time we test something, providing there's been a couple of tests and they're all successful, they work as expected, and the tests are detailed enough, what then happens is it gets merged into the development version. So if there's 3 or 4 test branches available and there's a load of testers on, and we all throw tests at all 4 of those branches and they're all successful, sometimes the dev version can actually update 4 times in a row. Peter, welcome, Bronze Frequent Flyer. Thank you for supporting the stream. Welcome on board. Gadget's in northwest London. Not got any snow. Rarely get snow up there, I think. Fat fingers. Ignore the @ symbol in that live chat bit. For those of you who've joined as a channel member today, Reese, Peter so far, please do, if you're on our Discord server, please drop me or William, one of the mods, a DM, and we'll make sure that we get you access into the club lounge inside our Discord server, that members only area. So do hit us up for that. John, great question. So I guess it depends on our position, really. Some would expect us, when they come, if they come online, some would expect us to call them up and request clearance to continue effectively. But if we're over halfway, or if we're into the actual oceanic section of the flight today, what I would probably do personally is I would call up and just do a position report so they can find where we are and plot where we're going. Jay lives on the west coast, no snow. Nice. West coast of where? US? Ace, great question. So it's saying that his autopilot's not following the approach. One of the biggest things to do is to check. Oh, Jacob, yeah, ping us a message on Discord and we'll get the role updated so you can get into the lounge. Jacob, good afternoon to you. Jacob Watcham, another channel member. Flight's going quite well so far. We're in the experimental custom fly-by-wire version and it's going pretty good. It's nice to get back into the A320. We did the CRJ a few days ago, and we did Samos yesterday in the 320, which was awesome. We did one of the circle to land procedures, and we're in the custom fly-by-wire version today, which is really good. Ace, as I was saying, one of the most important things to do on your approach, especially if it's ILS, and it's a custom airport as well, or a handmade one by a Sobo, always go into your RadNav page and use the charts to find the ILS frequency. So here it's blank, and it might happen sometimes. What you'll have to do is input the frequency into the ILS section yourself. Otherwise it won't find anything, it won't follow any approach otherwise. Comet in 90 miles is the start of the oceanic crossing section, so that is pretty much the border of Santa Maria FIR. K-Berg, no problem at all. Ah, Southport, UK, Jay. Nice. Yeah, it's odd. I'm at Heathrow, or near Heathrow, and we rarely get snow. When we do, it's quite surprising. We had it a little while ago, and it was quite mad. It's settled, and it's quite rare actually for us to get snow. It's nice when it happens. It does cause absolute chaos, though. Reese, I'm just sorting out your lounge access. Bear with me. He's on MSFS at the moment as well. Nice. Where are you flying to at the moment? Oh, Ace. So yeah, so that's going to be another little close. So basically, sometimes what the aircraft does, if you get within 15 nautical miles of the airfield, what it can do sometimes, as Ace is saying there, it can just trigger and ignore the rest of the star. So what you need to do if it does that is go to direct and click the next waypoint you need to go to, and it seems to kick it back in again. You do need to monitor at times just to make sure it's all working properly, otherwise it can become a little problem. Peter's in Surrey and it's trying to snow there. Nice, great part of the UK as well. Marco in Ponta Delgada, so MSFS doesn't have the correct altitude input apparently, but the ILS does work. That's good to know. And landing on 30 today will give us a crosswind of up to 26 kilometers an hour. Awesome, that'd be good. That'd be very cool actually. Hopefully that does hit us. To be fair, when we get snow near Heathrow, it's always a bit surprising. Mr. Doodoo, hello, welcome. Welcome to the channel. Oh, Jacob's out of the cockpit for a few months. What stick did you have? Was it the Airbus TCA kit by any chance? Or was it something else? And Jacob Tyler is supposed to go to Ford tomorrow to get his car key remapped. Yeah, I guess it's going to be quite difficult, isn't it? If the weather's pretty naff, then it's not ideal to go out. Mr. Doodoo, thank you for subscribing. Welcome. Anders uses the latest FlyByWire experimental version, and the autopilot starts flying in circles. Thankfully we've not had that yet. Although now you've got me a little worried. So I'm not sure. Jamie, you're not the first that's actually mentioned that. I saw something on a little while ago that suggested that a few people have been having the same problem. They've had controllers messaging them asking if they've got their sim speed tweaked or incorrect. Fly with Pascal, hello! Oh, the bot's going to read that out badly again, isn't it? Thank you for your donation. There we go.
Make it rain. SKRR, SKRRR.
The bot just is so bad at pronouncing stuff. It's brilliant. Yeah, Jamie, as I was saying, so a couple of controllers and a few other people on the network have noticed that for some reason, occasionally you do get issues on VPilot where it throws your ground speed up a little bit incorrectly, and it makes it look like your sim speed is totally wrong. So I think on the VATSIM forums there's a page at the moment where they're trying to monitor it and work it all out, so it might be worth going there. I always run my VPilot as administrator and I've not had any issues, so I'm not sure if that might help, but give that a go. And in your settings for VPilot, go to updates and make sure that box is ticked and change stable to beta if it's saying stable. So it will download then the beta, the very latest beta VPilot clients, which seem to work a little bit better. Ace, very odd. Make sure it's an ILS rather than a localizer. Some of the localizer approaches don't have a glide slope, it just has lateral guidance instead of vertical, so then you still have to control the descent itself. But it'll be good to know where you're flying into, actually, that might help. Samuel Boss, hello, welcome to you. Terry, welcome. Yes, update 3 is supposed to drop on Tuesday, so fingers crossed for a good update release and no problems. Although if the A32NX mod does get affected, highly likely it will, but if it does get affected, the FlyByWire devs are going to be pulling the things out to get it all back working ASAP again, as they always do. And Peter's on the same route past Negri at 32,000. Trying to see where that waypoint is. Slightly I can't find that on that route. Oh well. You should have connected to the VATSIM network and joined us. Good grief. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Jacob, it is X56. That's a shame. I know there's been a lot of issues with the Airbus Thrustmaster kits, but I'm sticking with my trusty, fairly cheap Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS setup at the moment, I think. And there we go, Ace, yeah, thank you there. So Anders is saying that adjust your dead zones to above 20% if you're getting the autopilot circling. Thank you for that bit of advice. Fly with Pascal, yeah. SKRRRR. Yeah, make it rain, skr. I can't do it. Oh dear. Delete, welcome to the channel, hello to you. And Wesley, welcome to you as well. You've got some MCD problems and the flight route's not updating. So I know there's an issue with distance. So you can see their distance hasn't changed for us at all for some reason, so something's gone a little bit wrong with that not updating properly. It was working yesterday absolutely fine on our trip to Samos, so something between there and now has caused a few issues. I'm not sure what. And Dilip, so William's got the sign on the name tag, A, because he's a channel member, so he's got the logo badge, but also he's a moderator, as he's just mentioned in there actually on the live chat. So that's why he's got all that gumph. Cap Jambo, yeah. You know what? The biggest thing I'm looking forward to is at the moment the CRJ, and I'm not a massive fan of it, to be totally honest. Can't see John anywhere up ahead. Not a massive fan of the CRJ personally, but it would be nice to have a different aircraft that works really well. It'd be quite refreshing as well for something different. But the biggest one I'm looking out for is the Quality Wing 787, and also, come to think of it, the FlyByWire A380. Although that's probably about 2 years or so away. That's going to be amazing when that comes, and hopefully I'll get to do a load of test flights with that. John, yeah, I think mine's got 795 as well, so, oh wait, it has updated, 791. Maybe that's correct then. I'm just going to watch that for a second. And Reese, I'm trying to find you on the Discord server, but I'm not sure what your username is within it, so let me know. Make sure you've reacted to the rules in the Discord server as well, so it gets you access. So maybe that's why I can't find you at the moment. You have to tick the little box on the rules. Let's have a little look. Gumph, yeah. How else do I say it? Gumph. Oh, yeah, it's not updating. It should be a lot less than 791 now. We've probably done another mile or two. Badges and cool stuff, then I'll say. Still not updating 791. Delete. So the gold channel members can ask for a live stream that will be accessible to everybody to view, of course. But if they request a live stream and we set a date, then that will be a it will be a members only chat if the gold members request a specific date for a stream or something, and we can get it all organised. But everyone will still be able to, from what I understand, watch the stream still. I think that's how it all works anyway. Reese, perfect, thank you. And William, thank you for sorting that as well. I really appreciate you sorting that for me. Oh yeah, there we go, perfect. $15 miles to Comet. I've got 22 miles, so that's perfect. So a couple of miles ahead somewhere over there. What's your flight level, your cruise, John? And Russ, it should be updating a lot quicker. It seems to be a little stuck, so maybe if I come out of it and go back in. No, yeah, so it's stuck at 791. I think we've near 400, 500 miles to go, to be totally honest. Zlivli, good morning to you. And Dilip in India, Bangalore. Welcome to you, tuning in over there, nice. So yeah, good evening for you. Max, hello, welcome to you as well. Cheers for tuning in. On our way over to the Azores today. A couple of residents watching as well. Flight level 380, so you're up here somewhere. Can't see you, but we're on the same route. You're going all out for an economical cruise then. Actually, I can show you this as well. Great livery. It's on flightsim.to, and if you guys want, I can fish out the link and stick it in the live chat. It's an 8K livery as well. It's really good. And who else was there? Who we got? So Peter, if you're in the Discord as well, give us a little ping, and Jacob too, so we can get your access to the club lounge on Discord. Mats, hello, welcome to you as well, channel member. Warm welcome back on board as always. Jacob, any news on when the Payware Stansted will be released? Very soon, I think. I haven't heard very much from them recently, but last time I saw some updates, it looked like it was getting quite close to being completed, so that's going to be quite cool. I think it'll probably be a very popular one for a lot of people in the UK and Europe, I think. Theodore, good question. So Azores Airlines is based in the Azores, where we're heading to at the moment, Ponta Delgada, but they've got a couple of routes around the world, mainly sort of like Lisbon, Portugal. I think they might have a route in the UK, but I'm not quite sure. I'm sure someone in the live chat will hit Google up and find out for us what routes that Azores Airlines have. But they've got quite a selection of cool liveries. They used to be called SATA, SATA. I'm not sure if they're still around. Yeah, Alan, it's bizarre. So something must have been changed in the code for a PR over the last day, and it's gone into both the experimental mod and the development mod branches, and it seems to have got the distance to go broken. So it must be pretty much something that's been merged in the last day. Not quite sure what. Yesterday on the trip to Samos it was updating fine all the way through, so I'm sure it was anyway. I'll have to maybe watch the stream back and try and figure it out to try and help the team out. The whale is called, you're going to have to help pronounce that, Cachalote. Very cool liveries. Frankfurt, thanks. For some reason, Reese, I had it in my head that they had a UK route. I was feeling like there might be Gatwick or something, or Stansted, but obviously was just making that up. Frankfurt's a long one. The runway in Ponta Delgada is really short, so that's going to be a sporty departure. It'll be like a Skiathos one, I think. Flaps 2, flaps 3. Be quite cool. Cap Jambo, yeah. So, as Eagle 1's done there with the specs command in the chat, I've got quite an affordable system, but very good. It works really well with the sim, I've got to say. I've had very few issues with it. And there's a Azores 143 going at LPPI as well at the moment on VATSIM. Using Volanta to check today. There's a couple of there's quite a few Concords blasting over the channel. There's Air France 2284 from TNCM. There's VCP 30 as well. It's about 10 minutes ahead of it, and Air France 46 behind, same route again. Guys, a lot of Concords. More Concords than there were ever flown, I think, at the moment. So the reason why we picked today's routes, Christopher, one of our channel members, requested it a little while ago, and I've been working to sort of get around to it. Quite like something a bit different as well. Not very much to see down below. It would just be water ordinarily, but we've just got cloud out at the moment. Oh, nice. I think we were having a conversation on the chat yesterday during the stream, and it does seem that the AMD systems seem to be, the CPUs seem to be very, very good with the sim, and they seem to work a lot better. They seem to be quite stable with it all. Jacob, just sorting out your lounge stuff now, bear with me. I have to find you manually. There you go, done. And any of the channel members that I might have missed, do give us a little ping and let us know on Discord. Either myself, William, one of the mods. Make sure you react to the rules in the server as well, so it unlocks the server first, and then we can see you on the list. There we are. And Kieran, thank you very much for your donation as well via the PayPal link. Thank you. That's really or via buy me a coffee actually. Just having a little look. Thank you very much for that. It's very kind of you to donate and support the stream. Next weekend we're going to be doing a group flight, and we'll be hitting up the Microsoft Flight Simulator servers, the multiplayer servers, and we're going to be smashing around Kathmandu. We're going to fly to Lukla, and we're all going to try and land there. And we're going to turn around and we're going to go and do a flight and try and land at Paro as well, all on the multiplayer server. So be sure, if you're free next Saturday the 13th, join us then for that. And everybody's welcome, of course. Bruno Bites, hello, welcome. K-Berg, yes, I love Nespresso. I've got a Nespresso Virtuo machine, and it gets used twice a day regularly. Love the good quality from them. 62 knot headwind. It's flying towards us at the moment. So gosh, thank you very much for your donation. Cheers for using the super chat as well. Quite a cool little feature that we've got on the channel in the live chats. Ground speed of 387 knots. 187 miles to go before we hit that first oceanic waypoint, 38 north, 20 west. Okay, but yeah, I love Nespresso coffee, it's so good. And it works out about 50p per coffee as well, so instead of going to Costa or Starbucks and paying £4 a go, so gosh, thank you very much. hitting up the super chat. Yeah, the Virtuos are really good. The only thing is you have to buy them from Nespresso Direct. Because they've got a special barcode around the coffee pod, which the system reads. So they've kind of locked it all back down, so you have to buy via Nespresso Direct, but I don't mind that because it's all completely recyclable. They take your recycling for free, loads of cool stuff. The coffee is so nice. Be interesting to see what happens as we get a little closer. What we can do actually is in the MCDU, let's get some weather data for Ponta Delgada. We're about an hour or so away at least still, so what I'll do is I'll request the TAF, which is basically the weather forecast. Jacob, yeah, we recycle the pods, so the Nespresso, if you get it direct from them, when you make your next order, you get a load of recycling bags that come with it, where you can add them onto your shop. And for your next order, you can then set a requested pickup, so they come and take your 80 pods away from you and go and recycle it. They recycle both the coffee and the aluminium in the pods, which is really cool. The coffee becomes fuel and fertiliser. And sometimes I'll cut them open actually, and this is getting really boring. But I cut them open and I throw the used ground coffee onto my blueberry trees in the garden. So let's print this TAF. Ah, that's interesting. If Starbucks have done that. I'll probably still stick with the Nespresso subscription though. Right, so the TAF then for Ponta Delgada, Lima Papa Delta. So forecast from midday. William, thank you very much. Gracias. How is the bot going to read this? I have no idea. Oh man.
Buenos dias, señor, gracias para los videos.
Wow, fair enough. Thanks, William, for using the super chat. Darren, so trying to decide between the Nespresso and the Tassimo systems. I guess it depends what you want. I've had both. I've had both Nespresso and Tassimo, and if I'm honest, I really disliked the Tassimo machine. I would really recommend the Nespresso Virtuo. It doesn't have a milk frother built into it, but there is a milk frother you can buy as an extra product, which is quite good. But I would definitely not get the Tassimo. Tassimo isn't that great, I don't think, having had it myself. So what we got? It's midday to tomorrow at midday, 300 degrees at 12 knots. Drizzle, rain between midday and 1400 today, which is the 7th. So where it says 0712/0714, what that means is the forecast between 1200 and 1400 Zulu, 2000 meter visibility, drizzle, rain, broken clouds scattered at 200 feet, broken at 400 feet. Bloody hell. Becoming 14, so 0714 to 0717, 1400 to 1700 today. Scattered cloud 1800, broken cloud at 3000. Interesting. And then the wind's moving around to 270 at 15. Tefik, hello, welcome. Matthew T, hello, welcome. Yeah, K-Berg, my Tassimo broke as well quite quickly. And it got quite mucked up as well with... Tefik, you're gone. Got quite mucked up with I think with Tassimo you can use hot chocolate, tea, coffee, and a load of other bits as well. And it started to sort of, it must have all been getting stuck inside the system somewhere, because I'd make a coffee and then it'd turn into a mocha. So I then started to worry about how clean it was inside, and I was constantly cleaning it every couple of months. But yeah, I love my Nespresso machine. It's very, very good. But Max, you're right there. Nespresso, they do control end to end, so all the way from the farm to the shop. But the ethics of it all, Nespresso seems very good. The fact it's all fully recyclable, I quite like that. William, yeah, the bot did quite well actually at reading that out, I've got to say. Snowing in New York, very nice. I should make a British coffee geek. Yeah, I should give it a go, shouldn't I? One of these days I'll just do a video of my Nespresso machine pouring away at some nice Colombian roast. The Darren, what I would say with Nespresso, with the Virtuo, you can get it on a subscription, so I would recommend buying the machine outright, which is what I've done. But then I've created there's a £25 a month I send as like a standing order to Nespresso, and they give you a 10% bonus as well in credit, so over time it becomes a little cheaper. It's very, very good. Eagle One Dream System, oh yeah, that would be quite cool. Yeah, you'd have to put a price on that though, because I'd bet that is like 5 figures. It'd be a great system though. You'd have everything on like 4K, it'd be a breeze, VR turned on, everything. That'd be quite cool. William might fly into Gatwick, can't see a thing. Nice. What's the latest meta at the moment actually? What are you trying to say? Coffee blabber? I do like a coffee. I'll run on it, live on it. It's lovely in the US, yes. You're in around New York as well, I think, on you from memory. We rarely get snow here. The cloud looking out though is pretty thick of it. Flight Simmer 7700 sounds like it might live in the same area. So you can probably look out the window and tell you the same thing. The clouds are fairly thick, but it's just not wanting to. It's not wanting to snow. And the bit we did have earlier just didn't settle, sadly. Jacob, yeah, nice. Yeah, it's in fact, yeah, good. It is Yodel who come and collect them actually, but I always make sure they're sealed and not over the dotted line. I'd imagine you get all sorts, and then it will end up just in the bin. But I'll make sure I do it carefully. John wouldn't know how to turn it on. Nice. New Jersey. Are you guys watching the Super Bowl tonight then? It's very, very late in the evening for me. It's midnight up to about 4 or 5 in the morning, but I tend to watch the Super Bowl every year. I'm not sure if this year I'm going to do it. But I'm a Patriots fan and I still kind of respect Brady, so I'm tempted to watch. And the halftime shows by the weekend this year, which is going to be mega. William, can't see the METAR, it can't see very far. Let's find the METAR at Gatwick then. So, let's see. We can request it. Let's get that then. See what the weather's doing near William's house. Jeff in the Lake District, nice. Awesome part of the UK. You've got fantastic scenery. Northeast Manchester, as I didn't say about snow. Yeah, there was a lot the other week, wasn't there? So let's have a little look then. METAR at Gatwick. Light snow showers, 010 at 13 knots, 2,400 metre visibility, broken cloud at 1,000, 0 degrees, QNH 1002. Nice. Jeff, welcome to the channel, Bronze Frequent Flyer. Thanks for coming on board as a member, that's really kind of you. Company message. Company message seems stuck on now. Bizarre. Oh, I know why. Maybe it's because I set format for printer and now need to print it. Perhaps that's linked. Jeff, make sure you hit us up on Discord, myself or William, and join the server if you have Discord, and we'll get you in the members lounge. Ah, interesting. My company message seems to have broken and got stuck on. Yeah, normally it's lovely. Matt, hello, welcome. Normally I'll go around best mate's house and we have a Super Bowl party. Loads of wings, loads of Budweiser and a load of other stuff. And this year we're not going to be able to do it, sadly. And yes, there is a top of descent mark on a PFD, on the nav display, sorry, but it's quite inaccurate still. So we've still got well over, just over 320 or so miles to go. Long way yet. We won't be near top of descent until near Beacon, which is 240 miles away. So that's a broken top of descent marker at the moment. I'm trying to work out why my company message is stuck on. Mr. Smudgy, good afternoon. Hope you're well. William the Kid. Flying direct to 3820 north, waypoint, but the flight path line is going straight past it to the east. It might just be the weather, although we've got a headwind. Not sure what your weather should be the same, to be fair. But it's going, it looks like we're going to hit it fine. Ed, good morning to you. Jeff, yeah, that usually is the case. I'm normally the last one awake when we all go around to my mate's house. Gets to about 4 or 5 in the morning, and I do night shift, so it's okay for me. But everyone else is normally asleep, and I'm sort of watching it, trying to be quiet, which is quite difficult. But I love the Super Bowl. Who do you guys want to win this year then? It's Brady and the Buccaneers, or Mahomes and the Chiefs. Matthew, my ETA is at the top of the screen, but we are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean at the moment, so I'm not quite sure where you're gonna. Oh yeah, we are slowly drifting slightly. See what you mean, John, yeah. I had this yesterday actually. In fact, we are ever so slightly drifting more and more away by the looks of it. Anything within 2.5 I'm happy with. We had this issue yesterday actually where it drifted almost to about 3 miles awry of the line. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Smudgy, I'm very well, thank you. Nice little different journey today. Lisbon to Ponta Delgada. Why are these broken? Maybe I should request another one. Let's request another meta. Ed, yeah, it has been a very long time actually since the Buccaneers were last in the Super Bowl. I'm only really supporting them because of Brady. Sad the Patriots aren't in it this year. Although it's pretty much good for everyone else. William doesn't care who wins. I guess you're not watching it then. Okay, so company message is broke for some reason. That's bizarre. Just going to get a quick screen grab of that and stick that on the FlyByWire Discord server. And let's click on a fuel tab and have a little look. 2140 burn. Keith just wants the chili ice making. NFL hasn't still quite hit for quite a few people in the UK then, just yet. Yeah, well, I work a variety of days and night shifts, long hours, up to anything up to sometimes 16-hour shifts, which could be pretty naff at times. Wow, a lot of PRs waiting to be tested. Good grief. Wish I'd have got on top of those. Yeah, Max, unfortunately I can't say what I do. Yeah, we're drifting more actually. We're getting more towards 2.5, which is bizarre. Perhaps by the time we get to this next waypoint, perhaps it'll have sorted itself out. I'd imagine it's just the weird curve that it's putting into the nav display, but we'll keep an eye. Ed, yeah, nobody wants to blow out on a score. I think it's going to be a really tight one this year. I think it's going to be quite tough for both Brady and Mahomes actually. But I do love the NFL. Patriots and my second team would be probably the Browns, bizarrely. And they did really well this year, actually. Something like that. Going to be bringing quite a few more tutorials to the channel as well soon, some more difficult landings. So we've done Samos, I've re-recorded and put Innsbruck back onto the channel as well, so that's all on there, and quite a few others, but there's a long list of tricky approaches that I'm going to be working on and getting tutorials all done for you guys to watch. Jallo animation, so who are you favouring then? Do you reckon Chiefs are going to smash it? Matthew T, yeah, no, in FS 2020 you kind of can, but providing you're using the working title CJ4, but none of the other aircraft have got holds. In the working title CJ4 there's a really handy user guide actually, and I'll put the link to that on our on the live stream the other day where we gave it a go and we flew from Seattle to Aspen in the CJ4 mod. In the description to that there's a user guide that Working Title have produced, and it allows you to basically work through it and help you get the aircraft set up initially and sort of configure it for things like holds, which is really good. Oh Jeff, the Discord link is saying link invalid. I hope not. Let's see. I'm just going to try and find it, see if I can click it and test it myself. Should be working. Eagle one. Well, they're quite. Some of them are exceptionally intelligent, to be fair, but they do get paid a disgracefully large amount of money. Same with football, soccer here in the UK. I really don't agree with the sheer amount footballers get paid here in the UK, especially when you look at then the military that are on a really basic wage. I just don't think that's justifiable at all. But it's all marketing, isn't it? It's all a business, so a lot of people get sucked into the culture of the sports, I guess, without really thinking too much about how much they're spending and how expensive, overpriced some of the tickets can be. I'd love to go and watch some of the NFL London games. That'd be great. But they could be like 150 to 200 pounds for a ticket, and I can't afford that, which is a real shame. But I also think sometimes watching it on the TV, you actually get a bit of a better atmosphere as well than actually going and watching a game live in person. Jeff, give that little link that I've put in the chat a go and let me know if that works. Hopefully it does. It should do. I've just clicked it and it took me to the accept invitation page, so that should be working for you. Jacob, yeah, BBC and the license fee is a completely it's a complete other matter for another day, isn't it? I really disagree with the license fee, to be honest. But as JLo's saying there, the leagues do make so much. The thing is, if they're making that much, they should lower the prices slightly, pay people a little less, and make the sport more accessible to everybody else. But I guess there's no incentive for that because everybody's quite happy to just pay the money anyway. The Green Bay Packers, for example, not for profit, really great club for the NFL, and it's a community-owned, I think, from memory, a community-owned, community-driven NFL team, not for profit, the only one of its kind. But to get a season ticket for the Green Bay Packers, you've got to go on like an 18-year waiting list, which is incredible. And it's so bad that people have got to, when they give birth to a kid, they then go and take their kid, the birth certificate, to the Green Bay Packers box office and put it straight on a list. So by the time it's 18, it might have a season ticket. Jacob, yeah, I was watching that. I was looking at that on the news yesterday about the BBC saying to charge £400 for pay-per-view. To be honest, I would rather them do that, and then I just would never use the BBC ever again. Jeff, yeah, that's really bizarre actually. Hopefully William can help out there. He's a lot more tech savvy with Discord than I am, so hopefully we'll get it sorted very soon. Eagle One, yeah. I didn't know that was part of the reason. $10 million sign-on bonus from Tampa. Whoa. I mean, it's paid off for them. They're in the Super Bowl this year already, smashing it. Sana, hello, welcome to you. We've departed Lisbon around about an hour and a bit ago, I think. An hour and 39 minutes ago. We started the stream, so around about 1 hour 20 we took off from Portugal, and we're on our way to Ponta Delgada in the Azores. So at the moment we're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the BBC myself, to be honest. Max, the Discord link worked for you, that's good. Hopefully we'll get Jeff sorted. Not quite sure what's going on there. It might be no, actually it probably isn't two-factor authentication. Oh good grief, nachos and beer at a stadium will run you $20. That's hideously expensive for something that basically costs them $1. Good grief. I do love the NFL though. Let's see, where are we? Well over halfway now, I think. Reese, to answer your question, so what I'll have to do is I'll contact you. I'll give you basically a special link through to download the livery. So I'll get it all sorted by the end of today. I'll get you the link to that, so you can download the British AvGeek A320 livery. Jacob, yeah, sports is just a massive business, isn't it? People are happy to pay for it because it's quite exciting. I love the NFL, and at some point in the future I will go to Boston and I'll go to Foxborough and watch a Patriots game if I can get a ticket for it. But I would love to throw myself into it and at least see one game live. Although probably my luck, I'd be right at the very top, at the very back of the stadium, and the stadiums in the US are huge, so I probably wouldn't see too much. 240 miles to go. Let's have a little look at some quick top of descent calculations. I'll put the link to it in the live chat as well, folks, so you can use it for your own simulation as well. Start speed. Someone was asking earlier about how you find out what to type in on that descent website for start speed, and I can show you guys. So if you go to performance, you click onto the next phase, you'll have descent managed 288. I mentioned this yesterday. Basically, that is the speed that the aircraft will fly itself at during the descent, providing it's in managed speed mode. So that's the start speed. Keeps a big Steelers fan. Nice. I've one of my good mates at work actually is a Steelers fan, and he's been quite regularly actually to watch some games in the US with his dad, which is really cool. Let's see about what was the winds. 300 at 15 knots, variable between, I think I said ILS Zulu, didn't I? ILS Zulu will lock runway 30. Yeah, it's a 12-mile approach. ILS 30 Zulu. If in doubt, when you've got Yankee, X-Ray and Zulu, if in doubt, just hit ILS Zulu, choose Zulu, it helps. And the star, Bavan 1 Sierra? Beacon, we're coming in via Beacon, aren't we? So, approach, let's have a little look at this, shall we? Make sure we get this right. DN12, 19 miles for the initial approach fix. We want to come in via Zuvap. So we'll go with the Beacon 1 Sierra departure arrival. Ah, there we go, via 19 DME. Perfect. That's what we wanted. So we'll insert that. There's that arrival bit complete, and we can see that on the nav display there in 200 miles. Ed, I haven't actually. What sort of thing would you like to see in that sort of tutorial? When you say about how to set up an IFR flight, what sort of things specifically? Yeah, Brady can't get enough. You're right there, Eagle One. He cannot get enough of Super Bowl glory. He's got how many? 6 rings now. but it drives him, and that's what makes him, that's one of the reasons what makes him so good at what he does, because he's gone to Tampa, had an absolute shocking start of the season, with a team that he didn't really know, and a system he didn't really get, and he's still found himself in the playoffs and now in the Super Bowl, which is madness. Really cool. Shows how good he is. Everybody referred to him as the GOAT, didn't they? So he's kind of proved it here. Herr Virtual, can't find the minimums on many charts. Are there standard minimums or something for the different ILS categories? That's a great question. So let me show you Navigraph so I can sort of show and explain. We're going to fly into Ponta Delgada on this Beacon 1 Sierra arrival. So from Beacon, 263 degrees down to SM 618, which is basically 19 DME, I think, or ZUVAP, one of those. On the approach charts, runway 30, we've got ILS Zulu, ILS Yankee and ILS X-Ray. So if we look at X-Ray, we've got a load of information at the top, and one of those says ILS DAH refer to minimums. And for that, if you scroll right down to the bottom, it will have this. So for ILS X-Ray, runway 30, straight in landing, ILS runway 30 on the charts, you've got DA brackets H. So the bits in bold are what you'd put into your MDA, and the DH is the one in the brackets. So the DH is linked to the rad out, the MDA is linked to your altimeter and your QNH. We're a category C aircraft, so you can see there full length, and you want a runway visual range of 1,000 meters as a minimums. And an MDA for category C aircraft is 430 for this approach. And there's some MDAs there for the circle to land if we were to be coming in from the opposite direction and doing the circling procedure. ILS Yankee, so that's the 430. ILS Yankee, the procedure looks very different again. And at the bottom, RVRs, category C, and the DH is the same there. 3-degree glide slope. And on Zulu, which is what we're going to be doing today, there's our glide slope of 3 degrees, intercepted from 3,600 feet. And we've still got, again, RVR of 1,000 meters, category C, and a DH, or MDA, sorry, of 430. Now, if we look at Lisbon, by contrast, just have a little look here, ILS 03, we've got different minimums down at the very bottom of the approach plates. So here you need to look at whether you're going to be doing a Cat 1, Cat 2, 3A or B ILS. If in doubt, just go for Category 3, or if in doubt really, I should probably say go for Category 1, because you get the higher decision heights. And in this case, you need a runway visual range of 750 meters and 529 for the MDA, or for the DH, 200 in the brackets. And whenever you see people go, I need a 3-degree glide slope, if you look at these boxes, it will tell you their GS 3 degrees, so it will tell you you want a 3-degree glide slope, and you'd use Track FPA and the bird to help you identify that. We can put in our approach actually here. ILS Zulu runway 30. There we go. That's what that's going to look like. Let's have a little look at this, make sure I get the arrival correct. Doesn't really give us very much actually, in way of altitudes. It just says that we have to be at or above ZUVAP at 4,500 feet. It doesn't give us any other altitudes whatsoever. So kind of hard to judge this one actually. 4,500 will be the one we'll go with initially for the entry into Ponta Delgada, I think, in that case. But as Jacob's saying, yeah, MDA is in the sim at the moment the better one to use. Decision height you would use more when if we had an auto land feature, for example, you would use DH more than MDA. But the difference between the two, you can use whichever one you prefer really in the sim. Let's face it, it's just a simulation. But the DH is linked to the rad out, which appears at the bottom of your PFD, and that's your distance directly from the aircraft to the ground. And the MDA is your distance to the ground based upon your pressure settings, your QNH and your altimeter. Ed, yeah, I can work on that, no problem. Sometimes at the start of streams I'll go in and work through it myself at the very beginning. A lot of times I just jump straight in really with everything programmed, so that's a good idea. But as Jacob's saying, if you create the plan on the sim brief, you can then import it and it will get sucked in straight away for you. And as Terry's saying there, DH is for Autoland. Herr Viertel, no problem at all. So, yeah, as you saw, I've got Navigraph. It is a paid charts option. I've got the yearly subscription, works out a bit cheaper. But ChartFox is a great one. That's a really good one. So chartfox.org, or for those of you in our Discord server, there's a Metars-charts channel, and you can go in and put in a quick bot command and it will give you Jefferson charts. So basically the same as what, pretty much the same charts that you get from Navigraph. You can get for free on my Discord server. So feel free to use those. GRD, hello, welcome. There we go, Matt, that's a great explanation of DH. Cat 2 or Cat 3 approaches and based on the rad out for DH. Ed, that's a good question. So SimBrief is free to use, but without Navigraph, what it does is it uses an AirRack from March 2019, which is actually very out of date these days. And you'll then get routes that don't have the correct airways or correct waypoints that don't exist anymore. So it could get a little bit difficult. There is a workaround for that. So if you're able to, what you can do is subscribe to Navigraph for 1 month. So you pay the £9 or €9 for the 1 month. You unlock the AirRack on SimBrief, so you have the most recent one, and then you cancel your Navigraph subscription. And what that does then, it allows you to force update your AirRack, probably at least twice if you time it right. AirRacks are updated on the very last Thursday, I think, of every month, from memory. So say for example if you got a 1 month subscription to Navigraph on the 1st of March, you would get the AirRack update for the end of February and the end of March. So you could update your SimBrief twice to the very latest AirRack, which would be March, and then you would lose your subscription, but you'll have an up-to-date AirRack. And you could maybe do that once a year, so you keep your AirRacks relatively up to date. If you create one on SimBrief and it's not quite right though, and you're using VATSIM, the controllers frequently they will just reroute you. So they will look at your flight plan and say, I'm going to send you a new flight plan, please put that in. So it all works out in the end. This is telling me I'm going to need 100 miles to descend to get to 4,500 by the point we're almost at arrival. We're almost there actually, 100 and something miles to go. It seems to be that it's stuck, so this update system here, where it should count down distance to go all the time, it seems to be stuck, so every time we pass the next waypoint it will deduct 148 from 271. So a little odd, but it seems to work okay. Newcastle, hello, welcome to you. And Jacob, as he's saying there, you need to make sure that your altimeter is correct if you're using MDA. So if your QNH is 1017, you need to make sure you've got your pressure setting of 1017 set correctly in here, because otherwise your MDA will be completely wrong. And that's important because it's your distance to the ground basically for your minimums. Some very high level cloud, very wispy, alto stratos I think, from memory, the cloud types, really thin, or alto cirrus actually it could be, I feel like it's alto stratos, really thin wispy clouds at very high levels. If controllers were online today, we would have had to have done oceanic clearance and position report. David Bartley, good afternoon to you. Hope you're well, welcome back. Now we're getting close as well, it would be a very good time to get the latest weather data, and we can put it into our performance page. So LPPD sends. We'll wait for the company message. Jacob, yeah, very good point. There is a tutorial on the channel of how to use the SimBrief integration. The options have changed a little bit from when I filmed that, but in the main, 80–90% of it is still the same. So if you want to look at getting how to pull your SimBrief data in here, you can do that. There's a tutorial on it on the channel. Let's print that. So if you're using SimBrief and you're in the aircraft for the very first time, you'd click MCDU menu, Options, AOC, and then SimBrief, and you'd put in either your username or your pilot ID. And your pilot ID, when you're planning the page on SimBrief, you scroll down, there's options that say your name. You want to make sure that next to your name there'll be a pilot ID number, about 6 digits I think from memory, so you can put one or the other in. And that will then link to the server. So you'd fill out your flight plan on SimBrief and you'd hit submit and it'd generate online, fire off to their servers, and then you'd click MCDU menu, ATSU, AOC, init press, and then you'd hit that button there, init data request, and it'd pull in, as you can see here, all this data. And there's 2 pages. Don't worry about that too much, just click back on AOC menu. You then go to Performance Weight and Balance, click Refuel Load Once, and it will then put all your fuel in. Click on the right arrow down the bottom, Payload, Load, click that once, and it will put in your payload as it is here. On the right here, there's your zero fuel weight, 59.1 tons, and it will also give you your zero fuel weight centre of gravity. And then you'd go to Init A page, and there'll be an option here to import flight plan. And you'd press that button, and it'd pull it all in. Pilot Stud, hello, good afternoon to you, hope you're well. Eagle One, yeah. He had a few marriage issues, didn't he, with his wife, and he had to push, basically make a decision to either leave the Patriots and move down to Florida, or stay with the Patriots and the family move anyway. So he went with them. I think he'll enjoy Tampa Bay though. I feel so. Yeah, it literally gives you the full pilot's briefing on that charts page. So everything you want. Navigraph does the same thing. All it does is splits it up into handy pages basically, so you can figure it all out quite simply. The chart bot on my server, you have to dig through the charts a little bit, but they're free and they're fairly up to date. A lot more comprehensive than ChartFox as well, bizarrely. 120, 99 miles, 1,000 foot per minute. Let's start descent now, shall we? We still don't have a working VNav, so you want to come out of manage mode, click down, and then you want to go into your vertical speed, click down once with the setting and start your descent basically. And yeah, it will lock at 1,200 foot per minute. Eagle One, yeah, pretty much. I think that was his decision, wasn't it? David, I'm not sure actually. I think he will carry on for another year. He's just chasing rings, isn't he? Really, more than anything else. He wants another Super Bowl ring. Personally, I thought he was going to retire last year, so I bought a Brady jersey, Patriots jersey, expecting him to retire at the end of that season. So I was quite surprised when he went off to Tampa Bay. And I've got to say, it was quite odd watching him and Gronk play in a different uniform. Vito, yeah, quite a few of them do, yes. So what you're watching there, what you're looking at there, the big pilot's briefing with hundreds of pages, is pretty much what they would look through in the aircraft. Some airlines use different forms as well, though, so some might use Jeppesen, some might use a different provider instead, but Jeppesen's like the main one. On that channel as well, in the server, you can type .meta and put the airport code in. It will give you the weather data as well, which is another little function. So down we go. Let's see if the engine noise is too loud outside. Yeah, of course it is. In the middle of the Atlantic. David, you know what? I would probably have the Chargers as my second team if they'd have stayed at San Diego. San Diego and Boston are my favourite places in the US. Absolutely love San Diego. Probably the best place in America I've been. And I think if he'd have gone there and they'd have stayed at San Diego, it would probably be my second team, San Diego Chargers. But I still don't know why they went to LA. They've already got Rams. It's bizarre. Fly with Pascal, it's Azores Airlines, and it's on flightsim.to. Really good livery. It's called the sperm whale livery, because of course the Azores are in the middle of the Atlantic and very rich with whales. I'll just get the link and I'll put it into the live chat for you guys, so you can make a note of it, save the link on your phones or whatever you're watching on, and you can download it for your own simulator. Jacob, I think it's a good question. I think it's because of just contracts and how much money that they would have charged. Matt, yeah, no icing today, thankfully. We had an icing warning on departure actually when we flew through some cloud, but all well and good today. No icing actually formed. Fly with Pascal, no problem at all. Enjoy it. It is a great livery, as you said. 8K as well. So there it is close up without all the noise. I think it looks fantastic. David, exactly. Same with the Raiders. They've moved to Vegas now, I think, haven't they? And that's all about money, chasing the dollar. And you know, they make so much money. There's no reason why they can't go ahead and just build a new stadium. Constraints. Enter destination data. I don't think we printed the latest meta either. I got sidetracked looking at the livery. Oh, we did. Good. So, oh yeah, we printed it, but we didn't rip it off. I did wonder. There we go then. So, next phase, QNH 1020. Temperature 15 degrees Celsius. Mag and wind 290 degrees at 14 knots. And we had on some metals earlier, 280 degrees, variable 340 degrees as well, so could be interesting for us. Transition level on the charts without any ATC is 6,000, so we're going to go with that. And the decision height was category C, ILS, MDA 430 feet. So in that goes at the top. We've got our runway selected of ILS 30 there as well. Check the RadNav page and we make sure, always do this anyway, make sure that ILS frequency is in. And on Navigraph you guys will see a VOR station on the top left here, San Miguel 111.2. So we're going to tune that in as well, just in case we need it for any reason. It might come in handy if there's a missed approach and there was ATC on and things, for example. But we can tune that in and just have that ready in case we want it for any reason. So 111.2 into VOR1. And we're pretty much ready to go. We've got our arrival routes and in descent managed 250. So that's dropped down to our next speed constraint. And now, because of that actually, I need to recalculate our descent profile. So it's telling us now we can actually drop this down to 900 foot per minute. I'll do 800 foot because I've been pushing down probably a bit harsher than I should have been. Jeff, awesome. Good to see you sorted out on the in the members lounge. That's great. Eagle One, exactly. Who do Oakland have for a team these days? Nobody. They just, the team ditched them. Raiders ditched them and went off to Vegas and left them without a team. I'm trying to think where would be the. I'm not great with my geography of states in the US, so I'm not sure where Oakland would. I'd imagine Oakland. Their nearest team is probably still the Raiders. They'd have to go all the way to Vegas for that, which is madness. Well, David, Chargers talked to San Diego City for 10 years to get a new stadium, couldn't get a deal done. Good grief. Flower Pascal, the A320 doesn't have, it does have a top of descent indicator, but it was about 400 miles ago. It won't have a top of descent calculator until, or a marker I should say, until the VNav is all working properly. Thomas, great question as well on the FlyPad. So it's there at the moment, but all of these buttons are just placeholders. Over time they will be updated, and we'll be testing those on the channel as well as they get added in, including the pushback, which is pretty much an iteration of the pushback helper mod built into the aircraft, which is awesome. Herr Virtual, does it make sense to enter the worst case wind direction if the wind is variable? So in this instance I would enter that one there, which is the main wind, 315 knots, because you'll always get one specific wind reading and then you'll get a variable as well, which is more of a warning that you can expect wind shear and gusts, variable gusts, which is a lot trickier when you're on final approach, because it can trigger a go around. if that wind whips around really quick, it can cause you to be quite unstable at the moment you want to be the most unstable. A few cloud at 600 feet, scattered at 1,100, broken at 3,000, so pretty naff weather. 1020, let's go ahead and just put that into the standard pressure, into our standby instrument ready. And we can just monitor everything else. What I like to do as a tip, during your descent, change your QNH to the local pressure and then go back to standard, because you'll notice the standard pressure is 1013, so 25,500 foot now. If we go to local pressure, that jumps back to 25,600. So if you leave it too late, when you hit transition, what you can end up doing is triggering a descent that goes too low. David, there we go, thank you. 49ers will be closest to Oakland, and I'd imagine they don't want to go there. Ed, yeah, pushback doesn't work with the FlyPad EFB just yet. They're just buttons that have been placed to show what's coming soon. Flip Z, so not very much works. This page is just a picture. This page works. This is your SimBrief username, so you put in your username you use to log in for your SimBrief account. Performance is in open blank, as is flight. This is accurate, but it's just a picture that shows you different values of the aircraft, max speeds and things. Payload and fuel are blank. The load sheet comes straight from SimBrief. Can't do it yet, but eventually we'll be able to actually scroll up and down and go through your actual load sheet from SimBrief, which is really cool. And on the dashboard we've got a handy little map. There's Ponta Delgada, and there's the plane. So you can link your SimBrief thing by clicking SimBrief there. Link MCDU currently doesn't do anything either, so don't worry about that too much, but loads of updates will come in the future. It's 58 miles and we need 923, so there's Zuvap, 4,500 at or above, 60 miles to go. And we want 1,000 foot per minute for that. At 250 knots. It's a nice gradual descent for us. Yeah, it is really cool. Great progress. I love the printer. That's really helpful for VATSIM, and the EFB is going to be great as well. More than anything else though, we need of course working VNav and things like that, but it is quite cool. And FlyByWire Pascal, I completely agree. It was a route that was asked by a member, as I mentioned a little earlier, during the flight. And Lisbon's a bit naff with the default scenery of course, but the Azores look absolutely stunning in real life on Google Images and things. So I'm looking forward to see what it looks like in the sim. It's usually pretty close, I've got to say, or at least the look of the island and things, so looking forward to punching below the cloud. Hopefully we get a bit of a scene as we get down there. David Bartley, yeah, so the keybinds on the EFB are a real problem at the moment, so you can input your SimBrief username in the EFB, make sure you do it on the ground, because for me, my username triggers all of the icing to come on. One of the keys triggers it all to come on, but some people triggers engines to switch off or fuel pumps to come off. The only way to deal with that at the moment is to turn all of your keyboard keybinds to 0, to delete all your keyboard keybinds that you're not going to use. That's currently the only workaround, but then you'd have to add them all in again when it's fixed. But they are working on a fix for that. Peter's got 50 miles to go. Nice, you're about 10 miles ahead of us then. And John's further ahead somewhere. Not sure how he's getting on. Jacob, I completely agree. Working VNav and the flight plan manager which will enable us to fly holds as well, automatically. They're all really key for the sim, for this aircraft mod. But it's still work in progress. They will be coming soon. Bertil in Bluescan, Sweden. Hello, welcome to you. Lovely part of the world. One of the best parts of the sim to fly around, actually. Sweden, Norway, like Scandinavia. Absolutely stunning scenery in the sim. We're 55 knot headwind. Let's recalculate that. So that's still... And then it's going to drop down. If it goes to 30 knots headwind, which it's likely to, 1115. So let's have a little look at our wind predictions that I had for our descent. So what are we now? Flight level 200, and the forecast here was 296 at 49. It's fairly close. A little higher, a little stronger. Next one, forecast was flight level 150, 296 at 41 knots. But that wind is slowly dropping down. John's 30 miles from Zuvap. Oh, you're literally 10 miles ahead. That's perfect. Let's drop that down to 1100 foot per minute now, I think. 40 miles to go. Now it's telling us I need 1,200 foot per minute, according to that quick descent forecast. Pascal, nice, that's pretty good. The scenery around New Zealand, Fiji, Samoa, American Samoa is really nice in the sim. And the CJ4 as well, the working title CJ4 is really good. Checked it out for the very first time on the sim the other day. Never flown it properly before that stream, and I was really impressed. It's just a little small for me. Let's do 18,000. Let's just get the seatbelt signs on. And we're going to go through cloud. I'm going to anticipate icing, even though it shouldn't come on the plane. I would imagine it probably will, because it's Microsoft Flight Simulator. Try and move the drone cam a little bit. In fact, press 5, zoom back. Great livery. Yeah, unfortunately the default planes are quite poor, aren't they, Jacob? Peter's saying it's very cloudy. I think the cloud base went down to is it 600 feet on the METAR, I think, from memory. Hopefully as we get a little closer we'll start to see the Azores come in. Jacob, yeah, no problem at all. It's a short runway for landing today, so we'll be going medium auto brake. And for missed approach, it's from 1 DME, you have to turn left on a track of 287, and a track is important, so you can't use heading, you'd have to enable track FPA mode, which is that button there. Then you have to climb to 2,000, then left to Petard and hold, climb to 4,500 foot. And that's basically just before the middle marker. Yeah, the working title CJ4 can also do offset routes, so for those of you who might do an oceanic crossing, Eagle One, yeah, this is all MSFS live weather. So for those of you who might do an oceanic crossing, you might be familiar with offset track, where you'll have your route like we've done today, but if myself and John were a lot closer, or he was going a bit slower but he was ahead, I can I can use my discretion to offset my route by 1 nautical mile to the right. And the CJ4, there's a way to do that, which is really cool. So they've added that into the flight plan manager as well, an offset track. $30 miles. Let's just recheck our calculation. How does that work then? To be fair, yeah, that's a 9-minute descent. Eddie, yes, it's not a dumb question, that's a good question. So the auto brake, you enable it on max on departure for in case of a rejected takeoff. And ordinarily you'd use low auto brake, which basically means that when your wheels touch down on the ground, there is a 4-second delay between you get decel, which appears at the bottom here, which basically means you don't touch the brakes, the plane will brake for you, and it's after 4 seconds after touchdown. We're going to use medium auto brake today because of the shorter runway, about 2,000 meters. So what we're going to do is trigger medium auto brake, and that will trigger a delay of 2 seconds after touchdown. So basically it's just a way of working with the system here, the landing system and the brakes. There's our decel point. But I'm actually going to go ahead and activate that now, I think. A little high still, but... $20 miles. I'm actually going to continue a descent down to 3,500 now, which is the ILS. Should get VOR, there we go. So there's 48 miles to the VMG VOR, so around about 40 miles to actually landing now. So A380 is a long way off yet. It's probably going to be... I would be surprised to see it by the end of the year. I reckon at some point, maybe summer 2022. There is a lot to do really for them. Actually, is that 9 DME there on the clock? There's 19 DME. So on the approach charts, 19 DME. It's saying 5,500, bizarrely. We'll set 5,000. We'll do 1,100 foot per minute on that for an adjustment then. Yeah, fly with Pascal you do, unless you want performance to suffer. So my advice is, in the sim, turn, make sure they're both off, leave them off, and turn your screens down. And if you're not going to use them, you can turn them off and you get 3-4 frames per second more, which is why they're dim. So into the cloud shortly. Seatbelt signs are on. Passing 10,000, so lights as required. We'll just turn them all on. We've already done approach mode, so that now enables us to press all call. Because we're about 10 minutes away. Ponta Delgada traffic, Azores 121 A320neo, inbound Zuvap, 10 track miles to go. Inbound for the ILS runway 30. For those of you who want VATSIM videos and how to get started on the network, then check out my playlist. I've got a playlist on the channel that gives you all the basics basically to try and get you the confidence to get on the VATSIM network and give it all a go yourself. And there's also some free PDF documents in the playlist description and in some of the video descriptions as well. So I've put together some very short PDF documents to give you guys a bit of a worded bit of assistance, I guess, so you've got something to refer to during your flight if you get stuck. So do check all of those out. They're all free for you guys to get stuck into. 9,000. Transition was 6,000. We're descending to 5,000. So let's go ahead and do local QNH 1020. Hitting that decel now. Peter, bumpy through the clouds. Let's have a little look at the weather radar. Whoa. Little channel there that we're going to fly through. Maybe it's this here actually, this little gap of the clouds. It looks like that's where we're going. And lots of red, bit of purple, severe turbulence. And inbound zoom up. Reese, I'm glad the VATSIM tutorials, the VATSIM series on the channel helped. I've had quite a lot of messages actually saying that they were very helpful, so that's always good. Nice to hear. Yeah, the FlyByWire A380 is going to be fantastic, and I'm hoping that I get to keep my position as a QA tester with them. When that comes, I'll be bringing loads of little videos for that. It's probably one of my favourite aircraft actually. Best one I've ever flown and operated on in real life was that. Flight Simulator 70, no, we had a 60 knot headwind all the way pretty much. 8,000 though. David's following along on Volanta, very nice. I've got Volanta fired up today. I forgot to put it on yesterday. I'd love to see how my circle to land got drawn. 15 miles till we're pretty much at that CI 30 point, 19 DME. It's picking up the ILS already, which is good. So, medium auto brake. Spoilers armed. That's all input at MDA's 430, that's on a PFD. And we're about 235 knots, which is pretty good. We're going to allow the aircraft to slow down to the green dot, and then at 19 miles, about 10 miles to go, we'll go flaps 1. As we go into the cloud.
Ponta Delgada, traffic at Portugal 272 Papa, fully established ILS 1830, 10 miles to go.
Well, David, I'm not sure if there is a way to import a previous flight onto Volanta. You'll have to let me know, that'd be quite cool. Inverted landing incoming. Let's hope not. This is the first time in quite a while I've used the experimental fly-by-wire part of the fly-by-wire mod, so giving it a little go. It was great last time. Flips, there's no estimate for the A380 from fly-by-wire at the moment. It's a long way off yet, so I'd be very surprised if it comes before summer 2022, if I'm honest. There's a lot to do, not least to build the whole model and all of the engines and things to go with it too. So landing on runway 30 on the ILS Zulu today. And there we go, 18 miles to go almost. There we go, and we're at 19 DME now. Continue our descent because we want to continue down to about 4,000. Flaps 1 as we go into the cloud. So we've been a very smooth continual descent so far. And let's go back into the flight deck. Let's arm ILS mode, LS. Oh, good grief, we're on the glide slope already, that's cool. We want to be below that slightly, so let's go kill half. Lock mode armed, so now it's going to line up with the localizer and fly that line. There's an aircraft ahead, I think that's John. Ponta Delgada traffic, Azores 121. Inbound on the ILS Zulu runway 30, established on the localizer, 16 track miles. Fly with Pascal, thank you.
Surf in dark clouds, woohoo.
Flaps 1, we were only about 15 miles away, 19 miles away, and just helping slow the aircraft down a little bit as well. 4,000 feet coming up, just below the glide slope, as you can see. So now what I'm going to do, how far? 14 miles. Let's arm approach phase. Alt star. And let's get rid of the speed brake now. Rearm that. 13 miles. We'll stay at flaps 2 for a little while. And we're now on the glide slope. So GS has gone green. Just now on the box, that's now armed and active. You want to haven't no. Missed approach was 4,500, I think it was, hold it petted, so that's ready on the box. 11 miles, flaps 3. Cat 3 single on the box there as well on the PFD. And in we go. I don't think we're going to get much of a view of the Azores today. But Marco, as he just said there, you mentioned earlier with the weather, you'll have to let me know if this looks pretty accurate for you actually. You've already got the vehicle in Delgada waiting to come and have that. Awesome. A little bit of wing flex, a little bit of turbulence on the way in. There's John further ahead. Hopefully we're not catching him too quickly. What are we now? 10 miles. QNH is set. The missed approach, if it all goes horribly wrong, was left track 287. Which is about there. 8 miles. 8 miles, glide slope altitude 2,700, and we're pretty much there now, as you can see. Although that looks like Microsoft Flight Simulator is flying us in 100 too low. What's my frames per second currently? 40 apparently on average. Ah, that is typical. 8 miles. So, gear down. Wrong button. There's the C. His his PC.
Traffic, Portugal 272 Papa vacated the runway at Delta.
Wow, there we go. Full flaps. There's the first view. We should have no blue on the ECAM memos. I'll probably turn icing off. Take that risk. Venus, yeah, it is Venus. It's very cloudy, isn't it?
Ponta Delgada traffic, Portugal 272 Papa taxi to gate.
So landing on 30, we pretty much go right to the end of the runway, and the apron is there with a little shed, I think. There's the approach lights just coming into view through the fog. Stable on the approach, passing 1,500. What I'll do when we get on the ground is I'll probably maybe go to normal daytime, good weather, so we can have a little look to see what it looks like in the sim as well. There we go, all good. Very cloudy. 2 red, 2 white on the Pappies, but they're just about visible. And at 1,000 feet, we'll take over and fly manually. Quick check of the V-speeds, 132, touchdown and 127. Marco, resident of Ponta Delgada, hope you're enjoying the stream. Hope you're enjoying the arrival as well. We should have land inhibit very shortly. Okay, autopilot off. Currently we've got a 20 knot headwind. So no blue on the ECAM memos. And landing inhibits. Michael, TCAS doesn't work yet. Well, it does for live weather, live aircraft, real flights. A little bit of buffeting from the wind. Not on VATSIM though, sadly.
100 above.
Minimums, continue.
500. Minimum 400.
So the glide slope is a little low, and now it's just shot up suddenly as well.
300.
So it's a little aloof.
200. 100.
Pappies aren't correct either.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Down. And don't need auto reverse thrust, so I'll just let it go on auto brake, I think. And take over manual braking. There we go. Little view as we come off. Ponta Delgada traffic at Azores 121, vacated runway 30 on Echo, taxiing to the apron. So, APU master starts. Strobes off, landing lights. We get rid of the spoilers and bring the flaps up as well. Yeah, not my most accurate, but thank you very much. Let's get some of these juicy APU sounds, shall we? Darren, Matt, Ed, William, Flight Simmer, Venus, Wesley, Marco, thank you, Reese, Eagle, Matthew T, thank you very much, and Cesar, thank you, all the way from Brazil, nice, thank you for tuning in. So here's where the sim is wanting us to park. APU's available as well, so let's fire that off. Runway turn lights off. And turning, there's our marshaller. Jay, thank you. Used to do a bit of aircraft marshalling back in the day. Probably some erroneous rudder behaviour there. It's down to my sensitivities more than anything else. Hey Matthew, welcome on board. Thank you for joining as a bronze member. There you go. So that's our little indication to get the engines off. Get a little screenshot of that, I think. Oops, wrong button. No, that is the correct button. Let's go engines off. Fly with Pascal, bronze member as well. Wow, thank you very much, guys. Welcome to the channel. Make sure those of you who are joining as members, you hit us up on Discord. We'll get you access into the lounge. We can turn beacon off, that's what I want. And of course we can trigger the turnaround. So let me just start Pushback Express. Another member, John, welcome. Good grief. Thanks guys, really appreciate you supporting the stream. Welcome aboard. Let's get the stairs rolling. And catering and baggage. So, let's have a little look at Ponta Delgada. So let's go to drone cam. Let's turn the speed right up. Let's have a little look at some sunny weather, shall we? Do scattered clouds, there's still a bit going on. Whilst the dispatch crew get to work. Look at that, that's quite cool actually. Short little runway, not very much going on. David, I wish I could do a return leg today. Haven't got the time, sadly. Nice little... Oh, we're into the cloud. Nice little island though. Looks fantastic. And you can see the other side of the island over there. What I might do over the next few weeks, I'll probably do a return journey back to Lisbon as well. We'll try and build that in. Back we go to the aircraft, shall we? Watch the catering teams muck everything up. Nice little terminal. Be good to see some freeware come out for this actually, that'd be quite good. So, there we go. Welcome to all our new channel members, of course. Fly with Pascal, William for super chatting. Sagosh for super chatting as well, and to all our new channel members that have joined today as bronze, silver and gold frequent flyers. I really appreciate all of you guys jumping on board and supporting the stream. Helps me bring loads of new content to you guys as well. Thanks for everyone else for tuning in, and if you haven't done so already, then please do smash that subscribe button down below as well. Join us as a subscriber, as a frequent flyer on the channel. John, awesome. You'll have to stick that on Discord then. That'd be quite cool. And make sure, if you're able, you head to our Discord and you join us for the group flight that we've got coming next Saturday the 13th. We're going to go from Kathmandu over to Lukla, and we're going to all try and smash a load of landings on the multiplayer service and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And then we're going to head on over to Paro as well. So cheers everybody, and see you soon.